Sometimes these videos take us into the heart of a city and we find a parking lot. Sometimes we go out into the small towns of Pennsylvania and learn a little more about our state from a cornfield or some woods. Due west of Clarion is the site of this video's lost racetrack, one which had a diverse schedule and a place with the highest level of stock car racing. Locals proudly reminisce of the time that this track existed, so in this video we will celebrate the life of the Pine Grove Speedway. The town of Shippenville is right beside Clarion, 5 miles to the west on Route 322. Less than 500 residents call Shippenville home, so it's very safe to say the population would have at least doubled on given race days. Pine Grove Speedway was opened on Memorial Day, which was a Tuesday in May of 1950. The half-mile dirt oval was opened under the promotion of a gentleman named Glenn Rupert. Rupert put shows on with roadsters, midgets, and the big cars, which evolved into modern-day sprint cars. The first season went well, and more was to come for this little track. In 1951, the track affiliated itself with NASCAR, which was a young, new sanctioning body from the South with a focus on stock car racing. Bill France ran a national-scale sportsman championship for regular racing enthusiasts across the country to compete at their local tracks with older, slightly modified cars. Pine Grove Speedway participated with a sportsman division, which ran weekly throughout the season. The Saturday night shows ran from May to September, and then in October, the biggest race of the track's life came as the NASCAR Grand National Series came to town. Race 33 of the 1951 season was a 200-lap race, which was won by Tim Flock over a field of about 20 cars. 1952 through 1954 saw the track continue to host NASCAR Sportsman Series events throughout the weekly programs, amongst other types of cars. The track moved away from the NASCAR-sanctioned events in 1955, continuing to host races for locals to come and enjoy. It hosted a 1955 MARC Racing Series event, which later became ARCA in 1964. At the end of the 1955 season, the track took a sabbatical. Pine Grove Speedway returned in 1957. A new promoter named Ralph Corderson began operating the track for late model and modified racing. This was the year that tragedy struck the racetrack. During the Memorial Day modified race, a wheel flew off of one car and hurtled into the grandstands of spectators. 3 people were hurt, and 2 children were unfortunately killed by the flying wheel. The racing only lasted for that 1 year on this half-mile track before ceasing operations again. The remote location of this track meant that the facility was left sitting pretty much as is. Fast forward to 1960 when the facility reopened for racing again in a 1/3 mile dirt configuration. Little information is available on these 2 years of racing, but the facility likely was using some configuration of the space inside of what once was the half mile. Looking at aerial pictures of the land, there were many cutouts of ovals in the space, which were likely used by everything from modifieds to go-karts to even bicycles. 1961 was the last season in which racing occurred at this track. The small town likely did not have enough foot traffic to support the racetrack staying alive. This does mean, though, that the location was never developed, so even 65 years on, the outline of the track still exists on the trees outside of town. So where was this track? Well, it's actually pretty easy to find. One could follow Briner's Mill Road down south from 322 and come across the field where Pine Grove Speedway once sat. The backstretch would appear on the left, and a dirt road that follows along what was once turns 3 and 4 is visible from the street. The tree line of turns 1 and 2 still shows as well, although it is all listed online that the land is private property and it is not recommended to go exploring. So in conclusion, a half-mile dirt track was built in Shippenville, Pennsylvania in 1950 and hosted NASCAR-sanctioned events, including a Grand National race. The track ran weekly Saturday shows until 1955 and then picked up briefly again in 1957. The track was lost and reopened in 1960, but then lost again for good in 1961. The location was never developed over and was left to Mother Nature to erase the mark of this track from the landscape. Maybe sparingly, she left enough of it that a keen eye would be able to pick it out. I don't endorse venturing onto the land, though. As always, we have this video to keep the track's legacy alive, and such is the story of Pine Grove Speedway. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a comment if you have your own stories about the track, and be sure to share it with others who may enjoy. We are the binding of the story of this racetrack into the future, so thank you for continuing to keep these racetracks alive. I'm Joe Donahue, and we'll see you in the next video.